I had only one job inside Nico Bellini's mansion: protect the voice of a woman who could no longer speak. Donna Elena Bellini, the deaf and non-speaking mother of the most feared mafia boss in the city, trusted no one with her silent signs except me. The quiet caretaker who understood every blink, every trembling finger, every warning in her tired eyes. Nico loved his mother more than his empire, and everyone in the house knew he would never marry any woman Donna Elena refused to accept. That was why Bianca, his beautiful fiancée, was running out of time. The engagement dinner had been set for Friday night, October 18th, inside the Bellini mansion. In front of the whole family, Donna Elena would be asked to bless the marriage, and Bianca already knew the old woman's answer would be no. On Thursday afternoon, one day before that dinner, Nico called Bianca to ask about his mother. Bianca answered sweetly, the way she always did when Nico was listening. She told him Donna Elena was resting, that everything was fine, and that the next evening would be perfect. Then she placed the phone on the table, thinking the call had ended. But it had not. Nico was still on the line. I am Sophia, and I am telling you this after everything happened, from the same mansion where that one forgotten phone call changed all our lives. What Bianca said next, and what Nico heard on the other end of that call, shocked everyone. Watch this story until the end, subscribe to the channel, and tell me in the comments where you are watching from. To understand that Thursday afternoon, I have to start with the life I had before anyone in Nico Bellini's mansion knew my name. I was not born into money, power, or protection. I was born in a small apartment above a bakery, on a narrow street where people knew each other's troubles before they knew each other's names.
I will be back soon,
My mother
Sophia.
cleaned hotel rooms until her knees gave out. My father drove a taxi at night and slept through most of the day. We were not rich, but we were never ashamed. We learned early that dignity was something poor people had, to protect harder than money, because money could disappear in one bad month, but dignity only left when you handed it away. By the time I was 32, I had never been married, not because no one had asked, but because every offer came with a condition I could never accept. Years ago, I had been engaged to a kind man named Marco, and we were supposed to marry before winter ended. I had already chosen a simple dress. He had already saved for a small apartment. It was not a grand dream, but it was honest, and, for a while, honesty felt like enough. Then my younger sister and her husband died in a road accident, leaving behind their newborn son Luca. Everyone told me to send the baby to relatives, to protect my future, to think about my own life before it was too late. Even Marco's family said a man should not begin marriage by raising someone else's child. Marco tried to stand by me at first, but the pressure around us became heavier than love. His mother stopped speaking to me. His brothers told him he was ruining his life. People looked at me as if I had chosen trouble on purpose. In the end, the engagement broke, and I let it break. Luca was not my burden. He was my promise. The first night I brought him home, he cried until morning. I sat on the edge of my bed with him against my chest, too tired to stand and too afraid to sleep. When he finally stopped crying, his tiny hand closed around my finger, like he had already decided I belonged to him. From that moment, I stopped thinking of him as my sister's son. He became mine in every way that mattered. I became a mother before I became a wife. And after that, I stopped accepting any love that asked me to abandon him. I did not become a caretaker by accident. Before the Bellini mansion, I worked at a small care home near the old church district, a place where elderly people came after strokes, accidents, and illnesses, took away the simple things most of us never thank God for: a clear voice, steady hands, easy hearing, quick words. Some of them were deaf. Some could hear but could not speak. Some could not write more than 2 letters before their fingers gave up. The first months there were hard. I made mistakes. I misunderstood people. I cried in the storage room because I felt useless. But slowly, I learned. I learned basic sign language from an old retired teacher who had lost her hearing as a child. I learned how to read lips badly at first, then better. I learned that a person's eyes can answer before their hands move. I learned that anger can live in a closed fist, pain in a held breath, shame in the way someone refuses to look toward the door. I learned how to use alphabet boards, picture cards, finger taps, blinking patterns, and writing boards. Most of all, I learned that silence is not empty. Silence is full of meaning when someone has the patience to listen. That skill became the reason the Bellini household found me. They did not need an ordinary maid. They needed someone who could understand a woman the whole house had stopped trying to understand. By the time Luca was 8, I had learned how to live with tired feet, unpaid bills, and a smile that only came out when he was watching. He was small for his age, with dark curls that never stayed combed, and a habit of asking questions I could not always answer. Every morning before school, he would stand in the kitchen doorway while I packed his lunch and ask me if my job was dangerous. I always told him no. That was the first lie I ever told my son for love. The truth was, nothing about Nico Bellini's house felt ordinary. The mansion stood behind black iron gates on a hill above the city, with guards at every entrance, and cameras hidden in places where flowers should have been. People spoke softly inside those walls, not because the house was peaceful, but because everyone knew loud mistakes could cost them more than their job. The marble floors were always shining. The silver was always polished. The curtains were always pulled at the exact same hour. Everything looked perfect from the outside, but perfection in that house felt less like beauty and more like a warning. I was hired as Donna Elena Bellini's caretaker because the last 3 women had quit. One said the silence made her uncomfortable. Another said she could not understand what Donna Elena wanted. The third left after 1 week and refused to explain why. When the housekeeper interviewed me, she placed a wooden board in front of me with letters, simple words, and small symbols on it. "Can you work with this?" she asked. I told her yes. Then she asked if I had ever cared for someone who could not speak and could not hear clearly. I told her about the care home, about the teacher who had taught me signs, about the old men who communicated with 2 fingers and stubborn eyes, about the woman who used 1 blink for yes and 2 blinks for no after her stroke. The housekeeper did not smile, but I saw her shoulders relax. "Then you may last longer than the others," she said. I needed the work too badly to be offended. The pay was better than anything I had ever earned, and Luca needed school fees, medicine for his asthma, and shoes that did not hurt his toes, so I took the job. On my first morning, the housekeeper led me to a large bedroom at the end of the east wing. Donna Elena sat near the window in a pale blue robe. Her silver hair brushed neatly over one shoulder, her hands folded in her lap. She looked fragile at first, like the kind of woman people whispered around. But when she raised her eyes to mine, I knew at once that she was not weak. She was trapped. There is a difference. Weakness has no strength left. Trapped strength is still strength, only locked behind something cruel. Donna Elena could not speak. She could not hear the way others heard, but she watched everything. She watched the servants who avoided her eyes. She watched the guards who treated her like furniture. She watched the doctors who talked over her instead of to her, and when I placed her writing board beside her hand, she looked at me for a long moment, then slowly tapped the wood twice. The housekeeper sighed and said, "That means thank you." But Donna Elena's eyes stayed on me, testing me. I tapped the wood twice back to her, then pointed gently to myself and signed my name the simple way I had learned at the care home. Sophia. Her eyes changed. Not much. Just enough. It was the first time I saw her look at someone in that house and believe there might still be a person behind the uniform. From that day on, I began learning her language. 2 taps meant yes. 1 slow tap meant no. A finger against the silver cross at her neck meant someone was lying. A closed fist meant pain. Her eyes moving toward the door meant she wanted the room empty. Her hand resting flat against the blanket meant she was tired. A long blink meant she was remembering something she did not want anyone else to see. Most people in the mansion did not notice these things. They thought caring for Donna Elena meant feeding her, dressing her, moving her chair, and making sure she looked presentable when Nico came to see her. But I learned that real care meant listening to what no one else had the patience to hear. Nico came to his mother every morning. That surprised me at first. Men like him were usually spoken about in fearful whispers. I heard the staff say his name as if it belonged to thunder. Don Bellini, the man no one crossed. The man who could end a business with one phone call. The man whose enemies disappeared from the city before sunrise. But with his mother, he was different. He never entered her room with his guards. He stopped at the door, knocked once, and waited for her eyes to find him. Then he would walk to her chair, bend down, and kiss her forehead. "Good morning, Mama," he would say. Donna Elena would touch his sleeve. Sometimes she would tap twice. Sometimes she would look at me, waiting for me to explain what she could not say. At first, I was afraid to translate. I was afraid of his eyes, his silence, the way even his kindness felt dangerous because power followed him everywhere. But he never rushed me with his mother. He never shouted. He never treated her signs like a burden. "Tell me exactly," he would say, and I would tell him. If she wanted him to eat, I said it. If she wanted him to rest, I said it. If she was angry because he had not visited the day before, I said that too. The first time I told him his mother was angry with him, the room went silent. 2 guards outside the door stopped moving. I thought I had gone too far. Nico looked at his mother, then lowered his head like a guilty son, not a feared boss. "You are right, Mama," he said. I should have come. That was the first time I understood why Donna Elena still had power in that house. It was not because of her name. It was because Nico loved her enough to become small in front of her. Nico trusted me because his mother trusted me. That trust became my protection in the house, but it also made me dangerous to the wrong person. Bianca Rossetti was the wrong person. The first time I saw her, she was wearing white, not a wedding dress, but something close enough to make every servant understand what she wanted to become. She arrived with perfume, diamonds, and a smile so soft that even the older maids called her graceful. She kissed Donna Elena's cheek in front of Nico. She held the old woman's hand. She told him his mother looked beautiful. Nico seemed relieved. I could see it in his face. He wanted peace. He wanted the 2 women he cared about to accept each other. But Donna Elena's fingers tightened on the arm of her chair the moment Bianca touched her. I saw it. Bianca saw that I saw it. And from that day, she never smiled at me the same way again. In front of Nico, Bianca was gentle. She brought flowers for his mother. She asked about her meals. She touched the blanket over Donna Elena's knees and called her Mama Elena, in a sweet voice that made the staff look away and smile. But when Nico left the room, the sweetness disappeared. Bianca would stand too close to Donna Elena's chair. She would move the writing board just out of reach. She would speak slowly, not because Donna Elena could hear her, but because she enjoyed saying cruel things to a woman who could not answer back. "He will marry me," she once whispered, while fixing her lipstick in the mirror. "You can stare all you want." Donna Elena's hand shook toward the board. I stepped forward to help her, but Bianca turned and looked at me. "Leave it," she said softly. "She is tired." I did not leave it. I placed the board back beside Donna Elena's hand. Bianca smiled, but there was no kindness in it. That was the first time I understood she did not just dislike me. She feared what I could translate. She feared my skill. She feared the fact that I could read in Donna Elena's eyes what she was trying to hide behind diamonds. The rule about Donna Elena's blessing had existed long before Bianca came. Nico had told the family many times that he would never marry a woman his mother refused to accept. Some people thought it was tradition. Some thought it was respect. I think it was guilt. Donna Elena had lost her voice and hearing after a violent attack years before, and Nico had never forgiven himself for not being there when it happened. He built her the safest room in the mansion. He hired doctors, nurses, guards, and specialists. He gave her everything money could buy. But he could not give her back the life she had before. So he gave her power in the only way he knew. No woman would become his wife unless Donna Elena blessed the marriage. For Bianca, that rule was not romantic. It was an obstacle. Bianca did not love Nico the way people love a man. She loved the name Bellini. She loved the cars that arrived before she asked. She loved the guards who opened doors. She loved the way shop owners became nervous when she entered with Nico's ring on her finger. She loved the mansion, the money, the power, the future seat beside him at every dinner where frightened men would call her Signora Bellini. I saw it because poor women learn to recognize hunger in all its forms. Mine was for safety. Hers was for possession. And as the engagement dinner came closer, she began to panic. At first, the panic showed in small ways. She started visiting Donna Elena more often, always when Nico was busy. She brought expensive scarves, pearl combs, imported sweets, things Donna Elena never asked for and never touched. Then she began asking me questions. Does she understand everything? Can she write clearly? Can Nico read her signs without you? If she is tired, could she mistake one sign for another? I answered only what I had to answer. Bianca noticed. One afternoon, while Donna Elena slept, Bianca stood beside me near the wardrobe and said, "You are very loyal for someone who is paid to be here." I folded a shawl and said nothing. She tilted her head. "Loyalty is beautiful, Sophia, but it does not pay school fees forever." My hand stopped for half a second. It was enough. Bianca smiled because she had found the door she wanted. "Luca is 8, yes?" she asked. Small, curly hair, blue backpack. I turned to face her. "Do not say my son's name." Her smile widened. "Then do not make me." That night, I did not sleep. I sat beside Luca's bed and listened to his breathing. His asthma always grew worse when the air turned cold, and I kept one hand near his inhaler even after he had fallen asleep. I told myself Bianca had only wanted to frighten me. Rich women like her used threats the way other women used perfume, lightly, because they enjoyed the effect. But the next morning, when I walked Luca to school, a black car was parked across the street. I did not know the driver. He did not look away when I looked at him. Luca tugged my hand and asked, "Mama, why are you squeezing so hard?" I let go and smiled. "I am sorry, darling." I was thinking. It was another lie told for love. From that day, the world became smaller. I went from home to school, from school to the mansion, from the mansion back to school, always watching the street, always checking whether the same black car had followed. I could not go to Nico. That is what people who have never been afraid do not understand. Truth is easy when the person threatening you has no access to what you love. Bianca did not have to touch Luca to control me. She only had to make me imagine one afternoon when he did not come out of the school gate. For 3 days, I lived inside that image. Donna Elena knew something had changed. She watched me too closely. When I poured her tea, my hand shook. When Nico entered the room, I avoided his eyes. Donna Elena tapped once. No. I looked at her. She tapped again, slower. No. Then she touched the silver cross at her neck. Someone is lying. I whispered, "Please, not now." Her eyes filled with anger, not at me, but for me. She reached for the board and wrote one shaky word. Luca. My breath left me. "How do you know?" I whispered. She only stared at me, and in that stare was the truth I had forgotten. Silent people still see everything. The engagement dinner was 2 days away. The mansion had become a machine of flowers, music, deliveries, polished glass, pressed tablecloths, and whispered orders. Bianca moved through it like she already owned the walls. She chose the flowers. She changed the seating plan. She told the cook that Nico preferred lighter sauces now, though he had never said such a thing. She inspected Donna Elena's dress for the dinner and rejected the first one because, in her words, black makes her look too severe. Donna Elena looked at me and slowly tapped once. No. I almost smiled, but Bianca was watching. The blue one, I said. Donna Elena prefers the blue one. Bianca turned sharply. Did she say that? I met her eyes. Yes. Bianca stepped closer, her voice low enough for only me. Be careful, Sophia. You are starting to sound like you think you are family. I lowered my gaze, because sometimes survival looks like surrender from the outside. But inside, something in me had begun to harden. That Thursday afternoon, one day before the dinner, Nico left the mansion for a meeting near the docks. Before he left, he visited his mother. Bianca stood beside him, one hand resting lightly on his arm. Donna Elena sat in her chair by the window, her writing board on her lap. Nico looked tired. There were shadows under his eyes, and for the first time, I wondered whether power was just another kind of prison. Mama, he said, kneeling in front of her. The next evening is important. Donna Elena stared at him. Nico swallowed. You know what I asked of you. I will not marry without your blessing. Bianca's fingers tightened on his sleeve. Donna Elena looked at Bianca, then looked away. Nico did not understand that look, but I did. It meant no. It meant danger. It meant please listen before it is too late. Bianca spoke before I could. She is nervous, darling. It is a big night. Nico looked at me. Sophia? My mouth dried. Bianca's gaze touched me like a knife. I thought of the black car outside Luca's school. I thought of my son's small hand in mine. I thought of Donna Elena's trust. She is tired, I said softly. Donna Elena's eyes moved to me, and the disappointment in them hurt worse than anger. Nico stood slowly, then let her rest. He kissed his mother's forehead. I will call later. He left with Bianca walking beside him, still playing the gentle bride. I stayed behind, unable to breathe properly. Donna Elena did not look at me for almost a full minute. Then she tapped the board once. No. I knelt beside her chair. I am sorry, I whispered. I am so sorry. Her hand trembled. I placed the pen between her fingers. She wrote slowly, painfully. Boy, safe? I covered my mouth with my hand. I do not know. She closed her eyes. A tear slipped down her cheek. That was the moment I almost broke. Not because Bianca had threatened me, not because I was afraid, but because a woman who could not speak, who had already lost so much, was still thinking of my child before herself. Later that afternoon, Bianca returned to Donna Elena's room alone. I was folding linen near the wardrobe. Donna Elena was in her chair, facing the garden. Bianca had a phone in her hand. It was Nico's call. I heard his voice faintly through the speaker. How is she? Bianca's face changed instantly. Her mouth softened. Her shoulders relaxed. Even her eyes pretended. She is resting, my love, she said. Sophia is with her. Everything is calm. Nico said something I could not hear. Bianca laughed gently. No, do not worry. The next evening will be perfect. Your mother will bless us. I can feel it. My stomach turned. Donna Elena's fingers curled against the blanket. Bianca listened a moment longer, then said, I love you too. She lowered the phone and touched the screen with her thumb. Then she placed it on the small table near the roses. She thought the call had ended. It had not. Nico was still on the line. I did not know that yet. Neither did Bianca. She turned toward me, and the smile disappeared from her face as if someone had blown out a candle. "Close the door," she said. I did not move. "Close it, Sophia." I closed the door, but I did not step away from Donna Elena. Bianca walked toward the old woman first. She bent down, her diamonds catching the afternoon light. "You are becoming a problem," she whispered, even though Donna Elena could not hear her voice. "A useless, silent problem." Donna Elena stared at her without blinking. Bianca straightened and turned to me. "The next evening, when Nico asks for her blessing, you will make her say yes." My throat tightened. I cannot make her say anything. "Do not be stupid," Bianca hissed. "You are her voice. If you say she accepts me, Nico will believe you. Donna Elena will refuse." Bianca stepped closer. "Then you will translate differently." I looked at the phone on the table, not because I knew Nico was listening, but because I needed somewhere to put my eyes. That would be a lie. Bianca laughed once, cold and small. "You think this house runs on truth?" She leaned closer until I could smell her perfume. "Listen to me carefully. The next evening, in front of everyone, you will tell Nico his mother blesses the marriage. You will guide her hand if you must. You will smile. You will do exactly what I tell you." I shook my head. "No." Bianca's eyes hardened. "Then your son will never come home from school." The room went silent. Even the clock seemed to stop. Donna Elena's hand jerked against the blanket. I felt the floor shift under my feet. Bianca smiled because she saw that she had hit the right place. "Blue backpack," she said softly. "Dark curls. Always waits near the left gate because he likes the guard dog across the street." Children are so easy to find when their mothers are predictable. I could not speak. My body was standing in Donna Elena's room, but my mind was outside Luca's school, hearing the bell ring, watching children run out, searching for the one face I lived for. Bianca continued, "And if you try to expose me, I will tell Nico you twisted his mother's signs because you hate me. I will tell him you filled her head with fear. I will tell him the poor old woman was confused and you used her silence to control this house." "He will not believe you," I whispered. Bianca tilted her head. "Are you sure? You are a servant. I am his fiancé." Her eyes moved to Donna Elena, and she cannot speak. Donna Elena reached for the board, but Bianca snatched it from the table and held it against her chest. "No more little messages," she said. "No more warnings. No more pretending you still have power." I stepped forward. "Give it back." Bianca looked almost amused. "Or what?" My hands curled into fists. I thought of Luca. I thought of the black car. I thought of every woman who had been forced to swallow truth because someone stronger knew where her child slept. I lowered my hands. Bianca saw the surrender and smiled. Then she placed the writing board on a high shelf where Donna Elena could see it but could not reach it. Cruel people understand details. That is what makes them dangerous. They do not only take what you need, they place it where you can keep seeing it. "The next evening," Bianca said, "you will save your son by giving me what I want." She turned toward the mirror, fixed one strand of hair, picked up the phone, and finally noticed the screen. For 1 second, she froze. The call was still connected. "Nico?" she whispered. No answer came through the speaker. Her face lost all color. She lifted the phone with shaking fingers. The call ended. She stared at the black screen, then slowly looked at me. I knew then. Nico had heard. Bianca knew it too, but instead of fear, something uglier entered her face. Calculation. "If he heard anything," she said quietly, "you will say I was emotional. You will say you misunderstood. You will say anything I tell you to say." Donna Elena's eyes burned with silent fury. I said nothing. Bianca stepped close enough that only I could hear. "Remember your son." Then she left the room. For a long moment after the door closed, I could not move. The phone call had changed everything, but I did not yet know whether it had saved us or doomed us. Donna Elena tapped the arm of her chair rapidly. I rushed to her. "I know," I whispered. "I know." She pointed toward the shelf. I took down the writing board and placed it in her lap. Her hand shook so badly the first letters broke apart. I held the edge of the board steady while she wrote. "Nico heard?" I looked at the door. "I think so." She closed her eyes, and for the first time since I had known her, I saw hope frighten her more than fear. Hope is dangerous when you have survived too long without it. Downstairs, the mansion had gone strangely quiet. No shouting, no running guards, no slammed doors. That frightened me more than noise would have. If Nico had heard everything, why had he not returned? Why had he not called? Why had the walls not shaken with his anger? An hour passed. Then 2. Bianca did not come back. I finished Donna Elena's tea, helped her wash, and pretended my hands were steady. At 6, my phone buzzed. It was Luca's school number. I nearly dropped it. "Miss Sophia?" the secretary said. "Your son is safe. A driver from your employer is here to take him home." My blood went cold. "What driver?" "A man named Carlo. He said Mr. Bellini sent him." I gripped the phone. "Do not release Luca to anyone." "Miss Sophia, Mr. Bellini is here himself." I stopped breathing. "What?" "He is in the office with the principal." My knees almost gave out. "Put Luca on the phone." A moment later, my son's voice came through. "Mama." I closed my eyes. "Luca, are you all right?" "Yes." A tall man came. He bought me a sandwich. He said you were busy. Tears filled my eyes before I could stop them. "Stay with the principal. Do not go anywhere unless I call you again." "Okay." "Mama, are you crying?" "No," I lied. "I love you." "I love you too." When the call ended, Donna Elena was watching me. I turned to her, barely able to speak. Nico was at Luca's school. Donna Elena's hand pressed against her heart. Nico did not come back to the mansion until after dark. By then, Luca was safe in a guarded apartment owned by the Bellini family, with a woman named Rosa, who used to care for Donna Elena. Nico had arranged it without asking me, without announcing it, without giving Bianca a chance to move first. That was when I understood why his enemies feared him. His anger was not loud. It was precise. At 9, a guard came to Donna Elena's room and said, "Don Bellini wants to see Sophia in the library." My legs felt weak as I walked through the corridor. The library was one of the few rooms in the mansion I avoided. It smelled of old leather, cigar smoke, and decisions that could not be undone. Nico stood by the window, his jacket removed, his sleeves rolled to his forearms. He did not turn when I entered. On the desk lay a phone, a small recorder, and a photograph of Luca outside his school. The Bellini office lines recorded calls automatically for security. Men like Nico did not trust memory when proof could be kept. That recording had captured Bianca's voice clearly. The sight of Luca's photograph made my stomach twist. "My son," I said. "Is safe," Nico replied. His voice was calm, which made it more dangerous. "No one will touch him." I gripped the back of a chair. "Did you hear everything?" Nico turned then. His face was not the face of a man betrayed by a fiancé. It was the face of a son who had just learned his mother had been suffering in the next room while he walked past the door every day. "I heard enough," he said. Shame rose in me. "I should have told you." "Yes," he said. The word hurt because it was true. Then his jaw tightened. "But she knew where your child was." I looked down. I was afraid. "You had reason." Silence stretched between us. I expected questions about Bianca first. Instead, he asked, "How long has my mother been afraid of her?" My eyes filled. "Since the first day." Nico looked away as if I had struck him, and I did not see it. I did not know what to say. He turned back to me. "Tell me everything." So I did, not all at once. Truth that has been buried under fear does not always come clean. It comes in pieces, with pauses, with shame attached to things that were never your fault. I told him about Bianca moving the writing board. I told him about the cruel whispers, the questions about whether Donna Elena could be misunderstood, the black car outside Luca's school, the way Bianca had begun watching me every time I translated. Nico listened without interrupting. Only once did he move, when I told him Bianca had called Donna Elena useless. His hand closed around the edge of the desk so hard his knuckles whitened. "Why did my mother not write it to me?" he asked. "Bianca never left her alone with the board long enough when you were near," I said. "And when she tried, someone always interrupted." Nico's eyes darkened. "Someone?" I nodded. "The housekeeper, sometimes one of Bianca's assistants. I think she had help." Nico looked at the recorder on the desk. "She does." My breath caught. "You know who?" "Not all of them. Not yet." He picked up the photograph of Luca and placed it face down, as if he understood it hurt me to see it. "The car outside your son's school belongs to a man who worked for Bianca's cousin. He was picked up 20 minutes ago." I swallowed. "Picked up?" Nico's eyes met mine. "He will not go near your son again." I did not ask what that meant. In Nico Bellini's world, some answers were safer unspoken. "What do you want from me?" I asked. "The truth," he said. "The next evening, in front of everyone." Fear returned so quickly I almost stepped back. "You want me to expose her at the dinner?" "I want my mother to speak." His voice softened on the word mother. "Through you, through the board, however she chooses, but only if she wants to." That last sentence changed something in me. Bianca wanted to use Donna Elena's silence. Nico wanted permission from it. There was a difference. "She will want to," I said, "but Bianca will expect me to obey her." "Then let her expect it." I stared at him. "You want her to think she still controls me?" "Yes." "That is dangerous." "I know." "For my son?" His expression shifted. "Your son is under my protection now. Not as a favor, as a debt." "A debt?" "You protected my mother when I failed to see she needed protection." I did not know how to answer that. He walked to the door, then stopped. "Sophia." I looked up. "The next time you are afraid for your son, you come to me. You do not carry that alone in my house." I wanted to believe him. But trust is not a door that opens because someone powerful tells it to. Trust is a lock that needs time. I nodded because it was all I could do. That night, I slept in Donna Elena's room on a narrow sofa near her bed. Luca was safe, but fear does not leave the body simply because danger has moved. It sits in the bones and waits. Donna Elena slept poorly. Twice she woke and reached for the board. The first time, she wrote Luca safe. I told her yes. The second time, she wrote Nico angry. I thought about the man in the library, his controlled voice, his wounded eyes. "Yes," I said, "but not at you." Donna Elena stared at the ceiling for a long time. Then she wrote, "My son blind." I almost smiled, but the sadness in her eyes stopped me. He was trying to trust the woman he planned to marry. Donna Elena tapped once. "No." Then she touched her cross. "Someone is lying." I nodded. "Yes." Bianca was lying. Donna Elena's fingers tightened around the pen. She wrote, "I warned." Tears burned my eyes. "I know." She looked at me then, and I understood what she meant. Not only about Bianca. Years ago, Before the attack that stole her voice and hearing, she had warned someone about another smiling woman, another danger that came dressed as love. No one listened. Now history had returned wearing diamonds and calling itself a bride. The next morning, Friday, October 18th, the mansion woke like a stage before a performance. Florists arrived before sunrise. Caterers carried silver trays through the side entrance. Guards checked every guest name twice. Bianca moved through the chaos in a pale cream dress, her face calm again, her hair pinned perfectly, as if she had not threatened a child the day before. When she entered Donna Elena's room, I was brushing the old woman's hair. Bianca looked at me through the mirror. "How is Luca?" she asked softly. My hand froze. Donna Elena's eyes sharpened. "Safe," I said. Bianca's smile flickered. "For now?" "Safe," I repeated, and this time there was something in my voice I had never allowed her to hear before. Bianca studied me. She was clever enough to sense a change, but proud enough to believe fear would return when she needed it. She walked to Donna Elena and touched her shoulder. Donna Elena did not move. "Tonight will be beautiful," Bianca said. "All you have to do is sit there and let Sophia speak for you." Donna Elena slowly lifted her hand and tapped once on the arm of the chair. "No," Bianca's eyes flashed. Still stubborn, I placed the brush down. "She needs rest before the dinner." Bianca turned. "Do not forget your place." I met her gaze in the mirror. "I know my place." For the first time, Bianca looked uncertain. It lasted only a second, but I saw it. And because I had spent years reading silent signs, 1 second was enough. At noon, Nico came to his mother's room. Bianca was not with him. He looked as if he had not slept. Donna Elena watched him approach. He knelt in front of her like always, but this time he did not speak immediately. He took her hand and pressed it to his forehead. Donna Elena's fingers trembled. Nico closed his eyes. "Mama," he said quietly, "I am sorry." Donna Elena stared at him, and the room seemed to hold its breath. He continued, "I should have seen it. I should have listened better. Tonight, no one will speak for you unless you want them to. Not Sophia, not me, no one." He looked at me. "May I?" I handed him the writing board. He placed it gently in his mother's lap. Donna Elena's hand shook as she wrote, "Not Sophia fault." Nico read the words, and something in his face broke. "I know," he whispered. Donna Elena wrote again, "Boy safe?" Nico nodded. "Yes, Luca is safe." She closed her eyes in relief. Then she wrote one final word, "Bianca." Nico's face hardened. "Tonight," he said. Donna Elena tapped twice. "Yes." After he left, I realized I was crying. Donna Elena noticed and tapped twice on the board. "Thank you." I laughed softly through tears. "You are thanking me? You are the one saving us." She shook her head slightly. Then she pointed the pen at me, at herself, and then toward the door Nico had used. Together. That one word stayed with me all afternoon. Together. For years I had survived by standing alone. Alone when Marco left. Alone when I brought Luca home. Alone when bills came. Alone when people judged me. Alone when Bianca threatened me. But that day, inside the most dangerous house in the city, a silent old woman reminded me that courage does not always mean standing alone. Sometimes courage means finally letting the right people stand beside you. By evening, the mansion had transformed. The dining hall glowed with candles and chandeliers. Long tables were covered in white linen. Gold plates reflected the light. Men in dark suits stood near the walls, pretending to be guests when everyone knew they were guards. Women in silk dresses whispered behind champagne glasses. The Bellini family had come to witness the blessing, and so had Bianca's family, who smiled too widely and looked too often at the paintings, the marble, the ceiling. already measuring what they hoped would soon belong to her. I stayed near Donna Elena as we entered. She wore the blue dress she had chosen, with the silver cross at her neck and her writing board resting on her lap. The room quieted when Nico walked in. He wore a black suit, no smile, no softness except when his eyes found his mother. Bianca entered last, dressed in ivory, beautiful enough to make people forget beauty can be a weapon. She crossed the room to Nico and touched his arm. "Everything is perfect," she whispered. Nico looked at her hand on his sleeve, then at her face. Almost. She did not understand the warning. Dinner began. People talked. Glasses lifted. Bianca laughed at the right moments and lowered her eyes modestly when older women praised her. Twice she looked at me, reminding me without words what she believed she still held over me. I looked back only once. That was enough. Near the end of dinner, Nico stood. The room went silent. Every chair, every breath, every eye turned toward him. "My family knows why we are here," he said. His voice was calm, but it carried through the hall like a blade wrapped in velvet. "Before I marry, my mother gives her blessing. Without it, there is no marriage." Bianca smiled, though her fingers tightened around her glass. Nico turned to Donna Elena. "Mama." I moved closer to her chair. My heart beat so hard I could feel it in my throat. Bianca's eyes locked on mine. The threat was still there. Do what I said. Make her say yes. Nico stepped down from his place at the head of the table and stood before his mother. "Do you bless my marriage to Bianca Rossetti?" The whole room waited. Donna Elena looked at Bianca. Bianca's smile trembled. Donna Elena looked at me. I placed the writing board in her lap and gave her the pen. Her hand shook badly. For a terrible second, I feared she would not be able to write. Bianca saw it too, and seized the moment. "She is tired," Bianca said quickly, turning to the guests with a gentle laugh. "This is too much for her. Sophia can tell us what she means. Can't you, Sophia?" Every face turned to me. My mouth went dry. I had imagined this moment all day, but imagination is easier than standing in a room full of powerful people, while a woman who threatened your child waits for you to choose fear. Bianca's voice softened. "Sophia knows Donna Elena better than anyone. Tell them." I looked at Donna Elena. Her eyes were on me, steady, tired, trusting. Then I looked at Nico. He gave no command, no pressure, only a small nod, as if to say the choice was mine. I took one breath. Donna Elena will speak for herself. A murmur moved through the room. Bianca's smile vanished. "Do not be dramatic," she said. "She can barely hold the pen." "Then we will wait," Nico said. 2 words. The room went still again. Donna Elena pressed the pen to the board. Slowly, painfully, she wrote the first word. "No." Someone gasped. Bianca stepped forward. "She is confused." Donna Elena kept writing. "No blessing. Bianca hurt me. Sophia protected me." The room erupted. Chairs scraped. Voices rose. Bianca went pale, then red. "This is a lie," she snapped. "That Maid wrote it. She has been turning your mother against me for months." Nico did not look at me. He looked only at Bianca. "Is that what you want to say?" Bianca turned toward him with tears already forming. Perfect tears. Beautiful tears. "Nico, darling, please. Your mother is not well. Sophia has been controlling everything. She hates me. She knows if you marry me, she loses her little power in this house." I saw the plan fully then. She had prepared this speech long before that night. If Donna Elena refused, blame Sophia. If Sophia spoke, call her jealous. If Nico doubted, hide behind his mother's condition. But Bianca had forgotten one thing. She had forgotten the phone. Nico lifted his hand. A guard stepped forward and placed a small speaker on the table. Bianca's eyes widened. "Nico," she whispered. He pressed play. Her own voice filled the room. The next evening, when Nico asks for her blessing, you will make her say yes. You are her voice. If you say she accepts me, Nico will believe you. The room froze. The recording continued. My voice, shaking, said, Donna Elena will refuse. Then Bianca's voice again, colder than the silver knives beside the plates. Then you will translate differently, and if you do not, your son will never come home from school. A woman cried out. One of Bianca's brothers stood, but a Bellini guard moved behind him before he could take one step. Bianca stared at the speaker as if it had become a living thing. The recording continued until her final words filled the hall. You are a servant. I am his fiancé, and she cannot speak. Nico stopped the recording. Silence followed. Not ordinary silence, the kind that changes the shape of a room. Bianca looked around and understood that beauty could not save her from her own voice. Still, she tried. I was angry, she said. I did not mean it. She provoked me. Nico's face did not move. You threatened a child. I was emotional. You abused my mother. No. Bianca shook her head quickly. No, Nico. I only wanted her to accept me. I love you. Donna Elena tapped once, sharp and clear. No. The sound cut through the room harder than any shout. Nico looked at his mother, then back at Bianca. My mother heard lies in you before I did. Bianca's tears changed then. They were no longer beautiful. They were desperate. Everything I did because I was afraid of losing you. Nico stepped closer. You never had me. She flinched as if he had slapped her. He removed the Bellini engagement ring from her finger himself. He did it slowly, not cruelly, but with a finality that made the entire room understand there would be no forgiveness bought with tears. Take her out, he said. Bianca screamed then. Not words at first, just rage. Guards moved in. Her family shouted. Nico's men closed ranks. Bianca pointed at me as they pulled her back. You ruined everything, she cried. I stood beside Donna Elena, one hand on the back of her chair. My knees were shaking, but I did not step away. No, I said, and my voice was louder than I expected. You did. Her eyes burned into mine until the guards took her through the doors. The room remained in chaos for several minutes. Guests whispered. Bianca's relatives argued. Nico's uncle demanded explanations. Someone said the dinner should end. Someone else said the police should be called. But Nico ignored them all. He knelt in front of his mother, right there in the middle of the hall, in front of family, allies, enemies, servants, and guards. He took her trembling hands in his. Mama, he said, and his voice broke. Forgive me. Donna Elena looked at him for a long time. Then she lifted one hand with great effort and touched his cheek. Nico closed his eyes like a child receiving mercy he did not deserve. Donna Elena tapped twice against his face. Yes. Forgiveness in her language was not dramatic. It was 2 taps from a hand that had suffered too much and still chose love. I looked away because some moments are too private even when they happen in a crowded room. Later that night, after the guests were gone and the mansion had become quiet again, I found Nico in the corridor outside Donna Elena's room. He stood alone, his jacket off, his tie loosened, his eyes fixed on the closed door. She is asleep, I said. He nodded. Rosa is with Luca? Yes. He ate too much cake and asked if all Mafia houses have better food than ours. For the first time that night, Nico almost smiled. Then the smile faded. I owe him an apology too. He does not know enough to need one. Children always know more than adults think. That was true. I leaned against the wall because my legs were finally feeling the weight of the day. Nico looked at me. You should rest. I almost laughed. I do not think my body remembers how. He was quiet for a moment. "You were brave tonight." I shook my head. "No. I was afraid the whole time." Bravery is not the absence of fear. That sounds like something rich men say after poor women take the risk. He looked at me, and for 1 second I thought I had gone too far. Then he lowered his eyes. "You are right." His answer surprised me. Men like Nico were not supposed to admit when a servant was right. But that was the strange thing about him. Power had made him feared, but grief had left cracks in him, and through those cracks, his mother could still reach the boy he had once been. "What happens to Bianca?" I asked. "She will leave the city before sunrise." "That is all?" His eyes hardened. "No, but it is all you need to carry." I accepted that. Not because I trusted violence, but because I had learned some burdens are not meant to be brought into a child's breakfast conversation. And her men? Gone. The one near Luca's school. He gave names. "Did you hurt him?" Nico looked at me for a long moment. I made sure he understood children are not weapons. I did not ask again. The next morning, Luca woke in a guest room larger than our entire apartment. He was sitting up in bed when I entered, eating toast with jam and looking suspiciously at a silver tray. "Mama," he said, "are we rich now?" I laughed for the first time in days. A real laugh. It startled me. "No, sweetheart." "Then why is the butter in a little bowl?" "Because rich people are afraid of normal plates." He giggled, and the sound loosened something inside my chest. Then his face grew serious. "Did the bad lady go away?" I sat beside him. "Yes." "Because of the tall man?" "Because of the truth." He thought about that. "Can truth make bad people go away?" I brushed his curls back. "Sometimes. But it usually needs brave people to say it." "Were you brave?" I looked at my son, the child I had chosen over every easier life. "I tried to be." He leaned against me. "I think you were." That was enough. More than enough. In the days that followed, the mansion changed in ways outsiders would never notice. Donna Elena's writing board was never moved out of reach again. A second board was placed in every room she used. Nico hired a specialist not to replace me, but to teach the entire staff basic signs so his mother would never again depend on only one person to be understood. The housekeeper who had helped Bianca interrupt Donna Elena's messages was dismissed quietly. 2 guards were replaced. Bianca's flowers were removed from the garden. Her portrait from the engagement announcement disappeared from the grand hall before breakfast. But the biggest change was Nico himself. He no longer asked his mother, "Are you all right?" as if the answer could be simple. He sat with her. He waited. He learned the difference between 1 tap and 2. He learned how her eyes moved toward the door when she wanted privacy. He learned that her hand against the cross meant someone was lying. The first time he understood without looking at me, Donna Elena smiled. It was small, barely there, but it changed his whole face. I saw then that love is not always proven by grand gestures. Sometimes it is proven by learning a language no one else cared to learn. As for me, I planned to leave. That may sound strange after everything, but fear does not disappear just because one enemy is gone. The mansion had nearly cost me my son. It had dragged Luca into a world I had spent 8 years trying to avoid. I told myself the smart thing was to take my final pay, thank Donna Elena, and find work somewhere ordinary, somewhere without gates and guards and women like Bianca. I told Donna Elena first. She listened, her board on her lap, her eyes calm. "Luca needs peace," I said, "and I think I do too." She wrote slowly. "You leave because afraid?" I smiled sadly. "Yes." She wrote again. "Good mother's afraid." Then, after a pause, she added, "But do not let fear choose whole life." I had no answer. I had no answer. That afternoon, Nico asked to speak with me in the garden. It was the first time I had been there without pushing Donna Elena's chair. The roses were trimmed too neatly, the paths swept too clean, but the air felt easier outside the walls. Nico stood near the fountain, dressed in black as always, but without the coldness he wore around other men. "My mother says you want to leave," he said. "Your mother reads too much." "She reads correctly." I looked toward the house. "This place is not safe for Luca. It is safer now." "Because you say so?" He did not answer quickly. I respected that. "Because I should have made it safe before," he said. And I did not. I folded my arms. I am not asking for guilt. I know. And I am not staying because you feel responsible. Good. His answer made me look at him. He continued, "Stay only if the work matters to you. Stay only if my mother matters to you. Stay only if you believe your son can be safe here. If not, I will arrange work for you somewhere else, under another name if necessary. Your pay will continue until you are settled." I stared at him. "Why?" "Because my mother is alive in ways I did not see because of you." "She was always alive." "Yes," he said softly. "That is the part I will regret." The honesty in his voice unsettled me more than command would have. I was used to men who tried to buy decisions. Nico, for once, was trying not to. "And what if I stay?" I asked. "Then you stay as Donna Elena's personal advocate, not as a servant people can order around. No one enters her room without her permission. No one moves her board. No one speaks over her. You answer to her first, then to me." "And Luca?" "A car takes him to school. A guard watches from a distance so he does not feel watched. His asthma medicine is covered. His life remains his life." I looked at him sharply. "I will not have my son raised like a Bellini." Something almost warm touched his eyes. That may be the wisest thing anyone has said in this house. I looked away because I did not want to smile. "I need time." "Take it." I stayed. Not because Nico asked, and not because the mansion suddenly became a safe fairy tale. I stayed because Donna Elena took my hand that evening and tapped twice, then placed her palm over mine. Yes, stay. And because Luca, after visiting the kitchen and discovering the cook would make him chocolate pancakes if he said please, declared that the mansion was scary but interesting, which was the most honest description anyone had ever given of the place. Months passed before people stopped whispering Bianca's name. Her family lost influence quickly. Men who had smiled at her dinner table suddenly claimed they had never trusted her. That is the way powerful people survive scandals. They rewrite their memories before anyone can question them. But inside the mansion, no one forgot. Donna Elena did not forget. I did not forget. Nico did not forget. I did not forget. Nico did not forget. Sometimes I would catch him standing in the doorway of his mother's room, watching her write, watching her choose, watching her refuse small things simply because she could. There was pain in his eyes on those days, but there was also gratitude. He had almost married a woman who saw his mother's silence as a weakness. Instead, he learned that silence can hold truth sharper than any scream. The bond between Nico and me did not become love in a single moment. It began with respect, which is rarer than romance in houses like his. He respected the way I spoke to his mother. I respected the way he never again rushed Donna Elena's answers. He respected that I did not flatter him. I respected that he listened even when my words made him uncomfortable. Slowly, trust took root in places fear had lived for years. He began walking Luca to the car some mornings, pretending it was because he had business outside. Luca began asking him questions no adult dared ask. Do Mafia bosses eat cereal? Do you have to wear black every day? Are you afraid of my mama? Nico answered the last one after a long pause. A little. Luca laughed for 10 minutes. I tried not to, but I failed. The first time Nico heard me laugh without fear, he looked at me as if the sound mattered. I looked away, because some looks are more dangerous than threats. Winter came softly that year. The city grew colder, the mansion warmer. Donna Elena spent more time in the sitting room, and Luca did his homework at the small table near her window, while she corrected his spelling with slow taps and stern eyes. Nico came home earlier than he used to. At first I thought it was for his mother. Then one evening I found him in the doorway watching Luca explain a school drawing to Donna Elena, and his eyes moved to me with something quiet and honest. Not hunger. Not possession. Not the look Bianca had wanted from him. Something gentler. And because it was gentle, it frightened me more. I had spent my life refusing love that demanded a sacrifice from me. I did not know what to do with love that simply stood at the door and waited for permission. One evening, near the end of winter, Donna Elena asked to have dinner in the same hall where Bianca had been exposed. I thought it was a terrible idea. Nico thought so too. But Donna Elena was stubborn in a way that made both of us obey. "Small dinner," Nico said. Donna Elena tapped twice. "Yes." "No guests," I said. She tapped twice again. "Yes." "No speeches," Luca added seriously. Donna Elena looked at him, then tapped once. "No." Luca groaned. "Nonna Elena, speeches are boring." She lifted one eyebrow, and Luca immediately sat straighter. Somehow, even without a voice, Donna Elena could command a room better than anyone I had ever known. The dinner was held on a Friday evening, not for an engagement, not for business, not for power, but for the family that had formed after the lie had died. There were no false guests this time, no Bianca, no families measuring the value of marble columns, only Nico, Donna Elena, Luca, Rosa, the cook who had become Luca's secret ally, two old Bellini relatives who genuinely loved Donna Elena, and me. The hall looked different without fear in it. The candles still burned, the chandeliers still shone, the plates were still gold-edged, but the room no longer felt like a stage for someone else's ambition. It felt, for the first time, like a home trying to remember how to be warm. Donna Elena wore blue again. I helped fasten the silver cross at her neck. When I stepped back, she looked at me through the mirror and tapped twice. "Beautiful." I smiled. "You are." She tapped once. "No." Then she pointed at me. I looked down quickly because praise had always made me uncomfortable. Poor women are used to being useful, not beautiful. Donna Elena knew that. She knew too much. During dinner, Luca talked more than anyone. He told Nico that the cook put too much butter in the potatoes, then asked for more. He told Donna Elena that his teacher said his handwriting was improving, which made Donna Elena tap twice like a queen granting approval. Nico watched him with quiet amusement, and sometimes his eyes met mine across the table. Each time, I looked away first. Near the end of dinner, Donna Elena placed her hand flat on the table. The room went silent immediately. Nico leaned forward. "Mama?" She pointed to her writing board. I placed it in front of her, but she pushed the pen toward Nico first. He frowned, not understanding. She tapped twice, then pointed to the empty chair beside him, then to me. My heart began to beat harder. "Donna Elena," I said softly. She ignored me. She took the pen and began to write. Her hand was steadier than it had been on the night Bianca fell. Slowly, letter by letter, she wrote a sentence that made the room stop breathing. "I want my son to marry Sophia, if Sophia chooses him freely." For a moment, I heard nothing. Not the candles, not the silverware, not Luca's little gasp beside me. My face went hot. "Donna Elena," I whispered, "please." Nico did not move. His eyes stayed on the board, then lifted to his mother. "Mama." Donna Elena looked at him with the calm authority of a woman who had survived lies, violence, silence, and still knew exactly what truth looked like. She wrote again. Not servant, not debt, family. Nico's throat moved. He looked at me then, and there was no command in his eyes, no expectation, no arrogance, only shock, tenderness, and something he had been too careful to name. Sophia, he said quietly, you do not have to answer anything tonight. That should have made the moment easier. It made it harder, because it proved he understood the one thing I feared most. I had spent years being chosen only when I was useful. I had been useful to Marco until Luca made life complicated. Useful to employers until my body tired. Useful to the Bellini mansion because I could translate a woman no one else understood. But Nico was not asking me to be useful. He was giving me room to be free. Donna Elena pushed the board toward me. There was another line written beneath the first. My son needs a woman who tells him the truth. Sophia needs a man who will never ask her to abandon her child. Luca looked at me with wide eyes. Mama, he whispered. Is she asking if Don Nico can be my father? The room softened and broke at the same time. I covered my mouth, but a laugh and a sob came together. Nico looked at Luca, and for the first time since I had known him, the feared Don Bellini looked afraid of an 8-year-old boy's answer. Only if your mother wanted that, Nico said. And only if you did too. Luca studied him seriously. Would I have to wear black? Nico blinked. Rosa turned her laugh into a cough. I closed my eyes. Nico said, no. Could Mama still tell you when you are wrong? She already does. Would Nonna Elena live with us? Donna Elena tapped twice so hard the board jumped. Yes. Luca nodded, as if this were a business negotiation. Then I think maybe it is okay. Everyone laughed softly then, even Nico. But I could not laugh for long. My eyes were full. I looked at Donna Elena. You are asking too much. She tapped once. No. Then she wrote, I am giving blessing before asking. Your choice. Always your choice. Nico stood slowly and came around the table, but he did not come too close. He stopped a few steps away, as if distance itself were a form of respect. Sophia, he said, and his voice was lower than I had ever heard it. My mother is bold. A small laugh escaped me through tears. Your mother is dangerous. Donna Elena tapped twice. Yes. Nico smiled faintly, then grew serious. I will not pretend I deserve you because my mother says so. I will not pretend my world is simple. It is not. I have enemies. I have sins. I have a name people fear. But I also have a mother who taught me too late that love without listening is just another kind of pride. You taught me that too. I could not look away now. He continued, I do not want you as a caretaker. I do not want you because you saved my family. I do not want you because I owe you. I want you because when you entered this house, you saw the person everyone else missed. You saw my mother. You saw me, even when I did not deserve it. And if one day, not tonight, unless you wish it, but one day, you can see a life beside me, I would spend the rest of mine proving that neither you nor Luca will ever have to stand alone again. No one spoke. Even Luca was quiet. I looked at the man the city feared, standing in front of me like a man asking for mercy. Then I looked at Donna Elena, who had once been trapped inside silence and had somehow used that silence to lead us all toward truth. Then I looked at Luca, my promise, my heart, the child I had chosen before every easier life. I spent years refusing any love that asked me to give up my son, I said. Nico's eyes did not leave mine. I would never ask that. And I will not become part of this house's charity. Never. And if I say yes one day, it will not be because Donna Elena blessed it, or because you protected Luca, or because I feel grateful. Then say yes only if it is because you want me." My hands trembled. Donna Elena watched me with wet eyes. Luca slipped his small hand into mine. I took a breath. "Then not one day," I said softly. "Tonight." Nico's face changed, not with triumph, but with disbelief so tender it hurt to see. "Sophia." "Yes," I whispered, but slowly, with truth, with Luca, with your mother, with no secrets moved out of reach. Donna Elena tapped twice, again and again, until everyone laughed through tears. Nico came closer then, slowly enough that I could have stepped back. I did not. He took my hand, not like a boss taking what he wanted, but like a man receiving something he had no right to demand. He pressed his lips to my fingers, and the whole room seemed to exhale. Luca made a face. "Do I have to watch this?" Rosa laughed openly this time. Donna Elena tapped once at Luca. "No." Then she pointed to his cake. He understood at once and happily returned to dessert. Nico looked at me, and for the first time I did not look away. There was still danger outside those walls. There were still enemies. There would still be hard mornings, guarded gates, old guilt, and wounds that love alone could not erase. But there was also a woman who had found her voice through a board and trembling fingers. There was a boy who had gained a family without losing his mother. There was a man who had learned that power means nothing if you cannot hear the people you love. And there was me, Sophia, the quiet caretaker who had entered the mansion to protect someone else's voice and found my own waiting there too. Months later, when Nico placed a ring on my finger in the garden behind the mansion, Donna Elena sat in the front row wearing blue, with Luca beside her, holding the writing board like it was a royal document. There were no crowds of false allies, no families hungry for power, no woman in white pretending to love what she only wanted to own. There was only sunlight, roses, a few trusted people, and the sound of Luca whispering too loudly, "Mama, don't cry. Your face will look funny in pictures." I cried anyway. Nico laughed under his breath, then wiped one tear from my cheek with a tenderness that made Donna Elena tap twice in approval. When the priest asked for blessings, Donna Elena lifted her board. Nico and I turned toward her. Her hand moved slowly, but every letter came clear. "Family is who protects your voice when the world refuses to hear you." Nico bowed his head. I held Luca's hand. Donna Elena tapped twice. "Yes." That was how our story ended. Not with the fall of Bianca, not with the anger of a mafia boss, not with the fear of a forgotten phone call, but with a woman who could not speak blessing a family that had finally learned to listen. I still think about that phone call. People say Bianca was destroyed because she forgot to hang up. But that is not the whole truth. Bianca was destroyed because she believed silence meant weakness. She believed a servant could be frightened into lying. She believed a mother without a voice could be ignored. She believed a child could be used as a weapon and no one would make her answer for it. She was wrong about all of us. Donna Elena could not speak, but she said no. I was afraid, but I told the truth. Nico was powerful, but he learned to listen. Luca was only a child, but he reminded us why courage mattered. And Bianca, who wanted a throne beside a mafia boss, lost everything because one phone call stayed open long enough for justice to hear what she really was. My name is Sofia Bellini now. I was once just the quiet caretaker in Nico Bellini's mansion, the woman who carried tea and translated silent signs. But I learned that even the quietest voice can shake an empire when it is finally heard. And sometimes, the woman hired to protect another woman's voice finds a family, a home, and a love she never thought life would give her back.